wears funny clothes.
Following up on the piano player comment, are we going to see any more Vic Fontaine?
Oh yeah, he's coming back for he's already been back this season. I just actually was speaking to him Friday. He's coming back for, I think it's show number 7, which we are sort of calling the Ocean's 11 show. It's not going to be called Ocean's 11, but it's, you know, who was it who was saying we steal the stories? You know, Ira sits there and he says, so this week we're going to make The Defenders, and next week we're going to make, you know, you take, that's the way storytelling is. You take, there are no new stories. You take stories and you put our characters in them and they take on a new life. And so we're going to be doing the Ocean's 11, and Vic Fontaine will definitely be back.
Also, I did have a comment that our club gets together about once a month, and the main thing we discuss is Deep Space Nine. We watch an episode, and you know, every month, you know, every time we see it, it just gets better and better and better. And you guys are doing a fantastic job, and please take that back to the people that aren't here today.
Thank you. One of the reasons for that, after ragging on him so much, is actually Ira Burr, who has been one of the sort of strong visual forces and creative forces behind the show. Although we kill him every week for what he's done and what he does to us and how impossible he is to get in touch with. Since he took over the reins, the show did some stuff, some acrobatics that turned it into really a world-class show, because of a world-class executive producer.
He's not even renegotiating a contract either. That's genuine.
No, that's later. Start small, Andy.
I've got to say that there's a large contingent of fans out here who think that 7 years is frankly not enough. I don't care if we get an 8th season. I don't care if we get a mini-series. I don't care if we get a theatrical movie or a TV movie or whatever it takes to do it. I want more Deep Space Nine.
You know, you're talking to 3 guys up here. I mean, who wear these masks, and I believe me, I only appear in a fraction of what these 2 guys appear in, and it's something that I would love to do with directors and producers and writers. I would love to throw them in these. This is my fancy. Getting all these suckers together and throwing them in a mask for about 16 hours for, you know, 3 or 4 days running.
There was a time when whenever one of the assistant directors would get us into makeup and then they wouldn't get to our scene for 4 hours and you're sitting in makeup. Oddly enough, it's much more uncomfortable to be in the makeup when you're not doing anything. When you're doing something, then you forget about it and you use it and it's part of your character and that's great. But there was a time when Armin initiated or instituted this idea.
Punishment!
Punishment, yeah, it was punishment. Which was, there are extra Ferengi heads lying around. It's really disgusting, I want to say. But he started this thing where the AD would have to then walk around wearing the head. And it does really undermine their need for authority to be walking around with this baby's butt on top of their head.
I have to say, I've worn this mask once, and I can tell you about these, because I'm from the point of view of just the person who doesn't wear a mask ever. My makeup takes 10 minutes and I'm complaining.
5 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes and complaining.
The shaving.
What it is like, and I had it once.
The complaining takes 2 minutes.
I was going to defend the mask thing. No, I'm not going to bother. I wore it once for some show, and what it is actually like is it's like peeling someone's face, live face, off their body and putting it on. Your face doesn't seem to sweat, but that face is doing all the sweating. And it's just this living organism on your face which just does not stop oozing for 16 hours. And it's the most horrific situation you could possibly imagine. It doesn't feel like your face on. I mean, it just feels like something on your face all day. End of story. Just go there for like 5 minutes and you'll know that it's not like it becomes part of me. It doesn't do that. It just stays there, distant and oozy.
Well, we still want more of that. I'm sorry. but we're sorry. I do have a question, though, with the coming of the new Dax. I just wondered if you might give us some information about how that character is coming along and working with the new actors.
Andy just did a major episode with her. It's really the two of them together. That was our third episode, and so we'll give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, she was in the first two, obviously, but the third episode is an episode that really establishes her on the station in her professional capacity. Again, as the village shrink. So because there are a lot of problems going on with the cast, as I say, the last 7th season, there's a lot of neuroses that are erupting, and Nicole is actually, she is a certified licensed psychotherapist, so they figured they might as well give her a role in it because there is so much that need, like for instance, Sid the other day,
why did we give him this question? Go ahead, Andy, you finish.
No, really, the guy walked away. He'd had enough. I don't blame him. I've had enough, too.
She's a 23-year-old, I think she's 23, yes? 23-year-old actress from Toronto who submitted a tape of a couple scenes that she got hold of, and they liked her so much they flew her down, they saw her, and they've hired her. It's got to be a little intimidating for her. I don't know the reality of it. I don't even know the perception. Here are, and Andy included, here are a bunch of guys and women who have been on this set for 7 years, and they have a certain shorthand, and they have a certain playfulness, and we all sort of know each other's neuroses and stuff. And all of a sudden, this lady is thrown into this and really doesn't know which way to look. She's a little, and God bless her. It's also, I said this to Rene, maybe Andy, we have forgotten how nervous we were when we were doing the pilot and the first season, and now she's in that same position. I actually feel a little sorry for her.
She's
Not
a pushover.
just in a good way.
I mean, she's pretty tough. She's been a guest. She's been a guest on a lot of stuff, and I asked her what it must be like to be doing. She said, "No, I've been a guest on hundreds of things, and now I'm just going to come in and be a guest star on this." She pushes me around.
And you love every minute of it.
I have a question for Bashir, Alexander. Are you going to have any more storylines like Julian in the holodeck again for your?
Oh, no doubt about it. Bashir is like the siphon and on the show for any idea that is totally un-Star Trek that they want to do anyway. So if something happens and the writers all go, "Oh, that's great, my goodness, yeah, everyone's stuck in a U-boat. Oh, wait a minute, it's Star Trek." Bashir will be there. He'll be in there. There'll be stuff that happens like that, and it'll all be Bashir.
And Armin, what's your favorite rule of acquisition?
See, that's like Rene saying the best, but the one I like to quote the most is, I believe, acquisition rule number. Taking this down, Ansley. Rule of acquisition number 30, which is treat business associates like family, exploit them ruthlessly.
Hi, this question is for Alexander. I know that Julian had sort of a little crush on Jadzia, so I was wondering if there was any chance that maybe he and this new Dax are going to get it on.
Over my dead body.
That's the way it's being set up right now. It is going to be over Armin's dead body.
I'll still be able to upstage everybody.
No, I don't know. They're going to leave their options open. It's exactly like Andy said the other day. They put it out there and they see how we deal with it. And if it looks as though it's a going concern, they're going to exploit it. And at this stage in the game, they just set it up just in case they want to make it happen. But they haven't set it up in such a way that is... they've set up a whole trio of problems. A set of problems already. They've set up a problem with Worf and Quark and Bashir and Ezra. And we're going to see what happens. So who knows? Watch this space, basically.
I had another question too. You and Cole Meany, you guys have such great chemistry. Was that planned or did that accidentally happen, or Because that friendship is one of the best things to me on the show.
Thank you. It's really not. That's really something that a perverse interest the writers have in having a conflict between the English and the Irish that goes back. And they love that whole thing, and the fact that we can be friends and we can still hate each other at the same time is really what's big. And also, there's all sorts of other things feeding into that, from blue collar and white collar conflicts and all sorts of stuff going on. Otherwise, I'm the only person really on the set that's prepared to take Colin Meaney's lack of seriousness in his trade and profession. That helps a great deal because we both were trained in England and have all that background going on, where anyone working at anything they do is looked upon. Excuse me. This was definitely a coherent question. I must get back to that. Now, anyone in England, we have a way. We look at anything, any job that one does, any professional job one does. If you do it seriously, then you're not doing it properly. Colin is obviously from that school, and I'm willing to tolerate that. So not many of the other people in the cast suffer, but the only people actually suffer are everybody else. If you say Mr. Meany very quickly, you get an idea of who he is.
Thank
I say
you.
to him all the time.
I have a question for you. If this is the last season, are they planning to wrap up all the loose ends as far as the Dominion, or are they going to leave it hanging at the end of the series?
We've got enough time to wrap up all the loose ends. I know. I mean, how many loose ends are we talking about?
Aside from the series regulars, Ira once told me we have 47 recurring characters. They all have loose ends. I think some loose ends will not be tied up. I hope to get tied up sometime. Next question.
Hi, how you doing? I have two quick questions. The first one, I run a significant risk of embarrassing myself. Armin, I apologize for addressing you familiar. It's still so odd to call you guys by your first name. Am I mistaken, or did you have a part in Stargate SG-1? That was great. How was that working on that set? That's such a new show, but I just love it.
Thank you. Yes, I did an episode of Stargate where I played a fairy, basically. And it was great fun, except it rained every day and we were outside. And I had this beautiful straw headdress that as it rained, it got heavier and wetter and limper and limper and limper. And we were out in the mud, and it got deeper and deeper in the mud, and all we were wearing were, really flimsy sort of things. But it was lovely. It was shot in Vancouver, a great city. I love Vancouver. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience, as opposed to Seinfeld, which I did, which was a horrible, horrible, horrible experience.
My second question is, I understand that Southern California is not exactly the theatrical mecca of the world or anything, but are any of you